Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jay from Coding with Jaybird, where I upload weekly tutorials to help build your confidence in coding. Today we're going to have a look at string search methods. Let's get started. I've opened my string search project folder here in VS Code. As you can see, there's not really much going on in the HTML file, just an H1 tag, and I've linked it to my main.js in my JS folder. All right, let's start coding in our main.js now. So there are many different string search methods that you can use to search through different strings. Oops, let's fix that. The first method that I like to talk about is the string index of method. Now the string index of method returns the index of the first occurrence of a specified text in a string. So it tells you the index position of that text. So JavaScript counts the positions from 0, and 0 is the first position in a string, 1 is the second, and so on. So let's make some variable called str1, meaning string 1, equals, and I'll say this demonstrates my first search method. Okay, and then what I want to do is, let's say create answer1 equals, and I'll grab that string 1 and apply the index of method to it. Now in here, I pass in what I'm searching for. So let's say I want to pass in demo. So I want to see where does the word demo show up in the string. And if I console log the answer, let's see what we get. We get 5. And that's because the letter T is position 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and D is a position 5. Perfect. The next method that we're going to cover is the string last index of. The last index of method returns the index of the last occurrence of a specified text in a string. So if you have one word that comes up numerous times, it's going to capture the position of the last instance of that word. So let's create a second string called str2, and this time I'll say my duck, Tim, is a very smart duck. Oops. Now we know duck comes up twice, so when we console log the str2, so string 2, with the last index of method applied to it, and we pass in the word duck, we're looking to see what is the last time that duck shows up. So it would be this position. When I save it, we see 28. So that tells us, obviously, it's not this position because this would be 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's not the first duck. It would be this duck, which starts at position 28. All right, perfect. Now both index of and last index of return -1 if the particular text that you're searching for isn't found. So let's do a console log, and I'll say string2 dot last index of, and we know that the word bird is not in there. So let's test for that, and when we save it, we're going to get -1, meaning that that word doesn't exist in that string. All right, let's move on to our string search method next. Now the string search method searches a string for a specified value and returns the position of that particular match. So let's say I have a third string called str2, and I say this one equals learn to code. And now if I want to console.log the string 3 variable with the search method applied to it, and this time in the search method I'm going to pass in the word 2. And when I save this, we'll see a position value of 6, and that's because the word 2 starts at position value 6. Now, though the index of and the search methods look very similar, they are in fact different. The search method cannot take a second start position argument, whereas this index of can take a second start position argument. So we can actually pass in an argument here after our string that we're searching for using a comma separated list, and we can start our search using that position. Now let's discuss the string includes method next. This includes method is a JavaScript ES6 feature and it's not supported in Internet Explorer. So the next few features or search methods that we're going to look at are specific to more modern JavaScript, which is ES6, which came out in 2015. But I'd still like to cover them today. So the includes method returns true if a string contains a specified value. So let's create a string called str4, and here I'll save coding with Jaybird in it. And when I do a console.log of string4.includes, and I check to see if Jaybird is in it, let's see what we get. We get the value true, and that's because Jaybird is in fact in that sentence. Now we can also give it a position where we want it to start checking. So this time let's check for the word coding, and we'll start at a different position other than 0. Okay, so I'm just going to console log string4.includes. And in the includes method, we're going to pass in coding. And using a comma separated list, we'll place the value 4, meaning we want to search this particular string starting at the 4th position. Now we know coding starts at the 0 position, so when we save this, we get a value of false, because in the 4th position, CODI has already occurred. Okay, our next method that I'd like to talk about is the starts with method. So the string starts with method is also an ES6 feature. Now the starts with method returns true if a string begins with a specified value, otherwise it returns false. So we pass in the value that we want to search first, and then we can pass in a string position if we like. So let's start with the basic approach first. And I'll say let string 5 equal I like JavaScript. And again, I can console.log what we're looking for, which is string 5 with the starts with method applied to it. And the starts with method will take what we're searching for as the first parameter. So let's say I'm searching for the word like. So when I save this, I get the value false. And the reason for this is because like does not start in the 0 position. Like starts in position 0, 1, 2. So it's in the 2nd position. All right, now if I add in a second parameter, I can do the same thing with a console log string 5 dot starts with. And this time, along with the word that I'm searching for, which is like, I can use a comma separated list to pass in the value 2. And that means start my string search at the value 2. And when I save it, this time we get true because like does start in the 2nd position. Okay, great. Everything's looking wonderful. Let's have a look at our very last method for today. And I'd like to talk about the string ends with method. Now this is also an ES6 feature. The string ends with method returns true if a string ends with a specified value, otherwise it returns false. So very similar to the starts with method, except it starts from the ending of the string. So I'm going to create my last variable called string6 equals. This is a great channel. I'd like to think it is. Hopefully you're enjoying watching these videos as well. Now let's do a console.log. And on this string 6, let's apply the ends with method and check to see if the word channel is in there as the ending of the string. And when I save it, you can see that we get the value of true. So we know channel is what this string ends with. Now, I'm just going to duplicate this with the Shift Command D. And now instead of the word L at the end, or the letter L at the end, let's delete the L and save it. And now we get false. And the reason for that is the string ends with the letter L, and we're not giving it that letter L as part of our search parameters. Now we can also add a second parameter and check if the first 4 characters of the string ends with this. So we're limiting the string to beginning at position 0 and ending at position 4. So if I do a console.log of string6.ends with, and this time I search for the word this, comma 4, and the fourth position is the ending of the string, we get true. And the reason for that is because this ends in the position 3. So if you're going backwards from position 4, this is the ending of that string. Now note we have to use position 4 and we can't use 3 because the ends with goes to position 4 and then counts backwards from there. So if we are at position 3, the ending of that word or that string would be THI, not THIS. All right, everyone, that's it for today's lesson on string search methods. I hope you've learned a few new things today. If you're enjoying my tutorials, please like and subscribe to my channel for updates of new weekly videos. Until next week, keep on coding.